First off, I forgot to do this. Let's thank Dr. Duckett and her team at Greenville County Human Relations for putting together this seminar as well as the video that they did in-house. They did an amazing job. And then, yes, thanks to the production company as well. All right, so what I want to do is, because there's so many of us and I want to get an answer from each table, we're just going to give me one example of what you notice per table, okay? All right, so let's start with this table all the way over here in the left. What was one thing that you noticed in the video that was not right? Come to the mic. Oh, yes, please. Can we get one representative to come to the mic? Therefore, the people that are watching the video.
We want to make certain that our online audience.
Yes.
Can do it, girl.
Right here. Okay, so our first comment regarding what did she do wrong was, can we just write down everything and be done with it? But the very first thing was obviously the initial phone call where she said, I can't understand you, or I only speak English, where the lady was clearly speaking English. And so that'd be the very first thing that we saw.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. All right. And please make sure you speak into the mic so that the online attendees can hear as well.
Like this. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is good. Steering, when they steered the family and then let the single white female with the bad credit score and the poor rental history and the job, she needs at least 3 to 6 months worth of something.
Great job. What about you ladies right here? Do you have?
We said she looked like she was qualified for the application, but then when she saw them in person, she made up an excuse and turned them away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we just said a generalized like kindness and curiosity with the white female versus immediate snap judgments and assumptions of the couple.
Okay.
First of all, the acting was impeccable. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oscar worthy is what I'm thinking. When the property manager referred the couple to the other side of town and all that sort of stuff.
Good job. All right, the table right behind.
When Gina walked up, she saw that she was disabled, and she's like, "Oh, the elevator doesn't work." That's not true.
Good job. The table in the back.
So the fact that they had a baby, she made a comment on if that's going to be appropriate for somebody with young children or a baby.
The table all the way in the back.
We came to the agreement with level that they were put on, being discriminated against that way.
Okay, thank you. The table.
We talked about the application fee and the Gina, they asked about the application fee and it was $40. She said it was non-refundable, whereas the other lady, she waived the application fee completely.
Yeah. Okay. Your table.
So for us, it was going to be the racial biases. When the husband, Mr. Smith, came in, she completely dismissed him. She didn't even like acknowledge that he was potentially the person that was there for her.
Right. Good job. Good job. The table in the back.
She violated everything. That's everything across the board. Fees, everything.
Okay, good job. All the way in the back.
Think most people have said what we wrote down, but the other thing is that they didn't show the unit to the couple. They just immediately was like, okay, it's not available anymore,
Mhm.
nothing's available, and then just didn't show the unit at all.
Okay. All right, great. You ladies?
I don't believe we've heard yet that the landlord allowed the single white female to falsify the application by saying that she was living with her parents.
Table all the way in the back. Okay. Does anybody have anything that we have not called out? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Jack. If you'll come up to the mic.
First of all, I want to say good afternoon, everybody.
Good
And
afternoon.
then I want to make a concern of mine. They never changed that baby when they were running around town everywhere.
They did.
Never changed the baby. But one of the prerequisites, they stated that you had to have some good references, I believe references, and they allowed her to put her parents down as a reference, which is not unlawful, probably unethical, but basically that was our concern.
Right. Okay. Come on.
She didn't really give the first couple a chance, but when the single white female came in, she said, oh, assistant manager, that's good. So by the position or the job she assumed she had, she qualifying her.
Ms. Stogan, did you have?
I would.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. So, we actually had a couple people on the online chat. A lot of everyone said everything that you guys are thinking. And so there's not a lot that I have to go over still, but one of the big things they pointed out was that I did not mention the lower level apartment at all. I said there are no vacancies, nothing available. Whenever I was turning them away, I never disclosed how many how many bedrooms or anything were in that unit or anything that would give them any reason as to why that unit might not be a good fit for them. So that's the only other thing I got online.
Okay. And Ms. Inez? Oh, you come on up first and then Ms. Inez after you.
The fact that the family had the income already and the single white female didn't even have the 40 hours or the income for the apartment.
Right.
She did not even invite them to even look at any other apartments. And a lot of it was discrimination based on the fact that it was a mixed couple.
Anyone else want to add anything to it? Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I was just wondering if she was, I remember Ashley had mentioned about the system within a system. Was she the gatekeeper or was that the corporate, was she representing corporate? That's what I was thinking, like, I know that's not it, but is that what corporate had this girl to say these things? Was that their makeup or, it could have been, because she mentioned something about said the system, when we were talking about the appraisals, the system have bias within the system. I was just wondering if she was representing the system. Right.
Well, wow, this was a skit that the Greenville County Human Relations put together. Oftentimes, apartment complexes, the rental offices, they do depict this type of behavior. And it is culture. It's a culture of controlling who we rent to and who we don't rent to. And we base it off of these things that we just saw in the video. So while this was something that they came up with and did, this is something that we deal with on a regular basis in the community, from low end to high end rentals. Yes, ma'am. I need you to come up so that the online viewers can, attendees can hear as well. Can you hear me? I can.
Okay, so I wanted to say, and correct me if I am wrong, but if you get hit with a fair housing suit, they can not only go after the organization, but they can go after you individually. So it doesn't matter if it's ingrained biases, you are still responsible for fair housing as an individual.
Anybody else? So one thing I want to point out, remember, there are protected classes. And so ignorance of the law does not excuse us from making these mistakes or knowingly doing these things, okay? And so you have to remember the protected classes are race, color, sex, national origin, age, disability, okay? So there is one specific example. If the housing is designated for senior adults, 55 and above, then if they have the child, they don't have to rent to the person because the unit is designated for senior adults. But whenever you get into familial statuses and denying people because they have kids, or denying people because of their race and their color. You know, in this situation, this was an interracial couple. If you noticed, when she directed them to the community across town, she said there's a very diverse community and Asian population. So that was in lieu to Gina's Asian descent. You cannot say these things to people. You cannot do this. And then when the husband came in and she realized he was African-American, there's another reason that she denied them. And it's like other people said, she never made mention of the downstairs apartment. She talked about the third floor unit, and the baby and the noise and the level of noise that the baby will make that can be disturbing. You can't do this. And so you have to know the rights of the housing clients that we serve. You have to know our rights as landlords, but making sure it's just like Ashley was talking about, in confronting our biases. Biases don't just apply to appraisals. They apply to housing, and rentals, and who we think are deserving of housing and who's not, or who's more deserving and who's not. And so me being African-American, I can't just only want to house African-Americans. That's against the law. You being white, you can't just say we're going to house whites. That's against the law. Being Asian, that's against the law. We all have the same opportunity to safe and affordable housing. And we have to make sure that the people that we employ know these laws, know the rights. And it's important as landlords that we educate our clients on the laws and the rights. If we educate them, that's not going to get us in trouble.
It just lets everybody know that they have rights, and it's educating everybody. And that's something we have to do a better job of doing as landlords and owners, is the educational piece. So is there anything else, Ms. Duckett?
I have to go back to work at Greenville County, and I want to be safe. So I'm going to ask the cast of the video to please come up and just take a bow. They practiced about 6 or 7 times, and they were looking at me like, you're not going to tell them who we are. So if you all would come on, let's go, let's go.
Where's the baby?
The baby, recently we realized I had some concerns. We're having a paternity test. Hey, I just want make sure that, everything is right. And even though we got the house and everything, but we still having some issues with the baby. I don't know if you knew it, but before we had 2 twins. They were a lot smaller and they look nothing like me or Gina. So I'm wondering where these babies coming from. I do work the nights. I do work a lot of nights, and I just want to let you know that, she's home most of the time. But right now our marriage is on the rocks, but we're going to stay together now that we finally got an apartment. Michelle, Michelle was actually the writer of the script, and we just want to recognize her. So you have, come on in closer. Come on in closer, guys. So starting from my right to my left, Michelle Senacori. And we have, he's the writer, Cheryl Hanshaw. What was your title, Michelle? Single white female. Gina Smith. Real name is Gina Wong. And she was my wife. And Adriana Ramsey. She was the person who called on the telephone where Karen here decided that she couldn't speak English, so therefore she hangs up on her. And we have Jessica. Yeah, everybody. Right now we have, is the deputy sheriff still here? Because those 2 gonna need protection, okay? But she was Karen in the picture. And of course, I'm Martin. And you probably saw a few times in there, when they grabbed the phone, I was getting ready to say, hey, this is Martin Watson. And I had to remember my last name was Smith. So there was some times in there that was some pretty interesting times, but we had fun doing this. And I definitely want to make sure that we recognize the production company, Primo Productions, and they did a great job. We had everything you saw this shot was shot in our office. And with with certain recommendations from them, they showed us how we should do certain things. Even though that was only probably about 15 minutes at the most, it took all day to shoot that whole thing. Because things you don't think about when it comes to making a film, we think you just go through the whole thing. But then you got one over here saying, okay, we just need your hands. We need you to grab the door. It's pretty interesting things. We learned a lot about shooting that film, and they enjoyed it. And we just had some crazy stuff. One major thing you didn't see, but you heard it, but last time it was even more funnier, because as we was walking out the apartment complex, and the single white female was walking in. She was looking at us. Gina was crying and she kept rubbing my stomach. I say, Gina, I said, stop rubbing my belly. So there's a lot of things that we enjoy doing here. I mean, we did it all because although this was fun, we had a blast. This is real. This is real stuff that happens every day. Now, it may not be as obvious when you basically see it in person, but it happens every day. And the real Gina and Martin fights this on a regular basis. We do this on a regular basis. Some of the things that we get, you would not believe. But we're glad that you enjoyed the film. It took a lot to put together, and thank Dr. Duckett for coming up with the idea. And this is a real thing that happens on a daily basis. Anybody have any questions about the film or whatever? Yes, sir. Let's say,
Give it back.
but let's say she's gonna always be looking behind her back. That's not a threat, just a promise. Anyway, but no, we didn't get application feedback, but I'm glad you recognize that. That is something that happens every day. One of the things we do find with application fees is that people will go and apply for an apartment, pay an application fee. Now, the apartment complex may already know they're not going to get it. But guess what? They still take that fee. Okay? So they're racking up hundreds of dollars just on application fee to tell someone, no, you're disqualified. So we got to make sure we change that to where if you know they're not qualified, do not charge them an application fee. But that's something that happens every day. What other questions do we have out there? Yes, yes, sir. We're working on that because we're looking at, we want people to be able to see these things, but that's something that we're discussing at the moment. Yes, ma'am.
So besides the 7 federal protected, does South Carolina have any additional fair housing laws?
Not in South Carolina. There are in California and other part of the Western state when it comes to gender gay. Well, you got to remember now, they did also extend the sex to gender specific. Okay, so that has also been extended. Okay, but there may be a lot more in California. I think there's like 12. Yeah, but in South Carolina, that's all you're going to find right now. And as things change, I'm sure there's going to increase also. What other questions do we have? So did y'all enjoy it? Yes. Are you enjoying the day? Okay, great, great. So, what time is it? Okay. Okay, in the meantime, want to take a 10-minute break maybe? Let's take a 5-minute break and just enjoy, get a chance to know the people that you're sitting with, if you're not sitting with the people you came with. Okay?